Stop. If you know what the rose is, this is for you. And if you don't, listen closer. Meet Lem by Hello Nancy. Yes, it looks like a lemon, but it's anything but innocent. Every 25 seconds, someone discovers Lem. With 500,000 customers and a 4.7 star rating, women say it's toe curling and mind blowing. It's whisper quiet and completely discreet, so no one hears a thing and no one knows what it is. Go to HelloNancy.com for 50% off this Valentine's Day. Once you try it, you'll understand. Real talk, there's a lemon-shaped toy making women text their friends at 2 a.m. screaming, "You have to get this." Meet Lem by Hello Nancy. Every 25 seconds, someone discovers Lem. With 500,000 customers and a 4.7 star rating, people call it toe curling and mind-blowing. That's exactly why it's all over social media. Don't let the cute design fool you. With 12 intensities, Lem is waterproof, whisper quiet, and incredibly discreet. Go to HelloNancy.com for 50% off this Valentine's Day. Once you try it, you'll understand.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
Looking for these better days.
It is Monday, March 30th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. A historic comeback or collapse, whichever way you look at it, in the NCAA tournament. The Final Four is set, and a profitable system Sunday. We'll update you on all of that here on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Mackenzie Rivers is back from vacation. Mac, I'm glad you made it back home safe and sound. Talk to us about your travels, man. I know TSA has been like just a disaster lately, so I am glad that you made it home. But how was your trip, and are you ready for the stretch run here as we get closer and closer to the NBA playoffs?
I have two things to say to you about my trip that are relevant to our audience. Number one, Leones. Number two, you de hey. You de hey. If you ask me my favorite second division Mexican soccer team, it's not even close. It's the University of Guadalajara, Leones Negros. They represented. Yeah, they lost 3-1 in the game that I saw, but I couldn't have been prouder of the boys. And it's good to see another side of the sports world.
A little upset you didn't text in a play on that, though. I mean, you were at the game. You could have let us know who got the ball first or something.
The live betting opportunities were like the 45 of us, and there was like a 60,000 person stadium, and there might have been 200 people there, but everyone was really into it, so it was fun. Insider knowledge.
Yeah, we were into it as well here. Yeah, sure. Here's what we were into yesterday. My goodness, Mackenzie. Duke, for the second year in a row, with one of the more inexcusable losses in a big game. Last year, it was the Final Four game against Houston, in which they blew a 14-point lead and lost to Houston. In fact, they were up, 67-61 with like 30 seconds left and still lost that game. And then yesterday, up 19 points against UConn. They blow the game, and UConn gets the win 73-72 on a three-pointer with 0.3 seconds left. We can talk about so many different ways Duke lost this game, but let's just talk about it by the numbers real quick. Duke, I mentioned the Houston loss last year. They were up by 14. They lost two games this season before yesterday. They were up by 17 against Texas Tech and lost. They were up by 13 against North Carolina and lost. The three games that they lost this year, they had a winning percentage at one point in the game of over 95%. Last night, they were up 70-66 with a minute 30 left. And they did what teams do that I hate the most, Mackenzie, is they played not to lose instead of playing to win. Instead of running an offensive set, instead of trying to get to the basket and get more points, they milked the entire shot clock down before Cam Boozer turned the basketball over that led to a UConn three to make the score 70-69. Yes, we can talk about the fouling up three with 10 seconds left, and of course the final possession, which was inexcusable to turn the ball over there. But I hate when teams do this, Mac. They go into protection mode. They try and milk the shot clock. Just run your offense. Just get to the basket. You don't even have to score there, but just play normal.
And this is a team that, like you said, their 3 losses this year, they had a 95% chance to win every one of them, which would be remarkable by itself. But this is a team who last year with a completely different crew, so you got to bring up the coach, Jason Shireman.
John Shire.
John Shire, yeah. He's a contemporary of mine in Illinois high school basketball in the early 2000s. I don't know why I got that wrong. But a completely new crew, and the one thing they remembered last year that they should have won the national championship, they had a 99% chance, but they played prevent defense and lost it. And I think, yes, you can say the coach doesn't have or made bad tactical decisions, but I think it's about the program. It's about let's bring in the most talented freshmen that we can and let them be them. I mean, that's kind of been since Zion Williamson, and I know it was Coach K back then, the MO of Duke, of these guys are just better, and we always have a 95% chance to win. So we're just going to, lead them to water and hope they drink. But they had a 99% chance to win with 10 seconds left, let alone at halftime when they were up by 15. You just don't throw the ball unless you're sure of where it's going, Boozer. And that's how miracles happen for UConn.
Mackenzie, you don't throw the ball anywhere.
You don't need to pass the ball. There's no 10-second shot clock you got to be worried about.
So in college basketball, it's a 10-second rule, not an 8-second rule like in the NBA.
And they took the ball out with 10.1, so worst case scenario, the game's over. You can't make a shot with
so in college basketball, you have 10 seconds to cross half court, not 8 seconds. When you inbound the ball successfully, if you are the Duke player that catches the basketball, you hug the basketball and you don't do anything. And one of 2 things is going to happen. 10 seconds is going to run out and the game's going to end, or the ref's going to blow the whistle and put you on the free throw line because UConn's swiping at the ball and you're going to get fouled. There's no reason to pass the basketball. That's it. That's the only way you lose is if you pass the basketball there. But they passed it not once, not twice. They tried to pass it 3 times and it gets turned over. And can we give Alex Karaban credit? The dude passed the ball and allowed Mullins to shoot that 3-pointer. And man, the onions on that kid. You realize yesterday, UConn, because they were down big, you mentioned at the half, the 15-point, and we'll talk about how historic this upset was. UConn started the game 1 of 18 from 3-point range. 1 of 18. They made 4 of their final 5 threes.
Shooter.
1 of 18 to start the game, 4 of 5 to end the game, including the 1 3 that made it 70-69, and the final 3 to make it 73-72 final. Unbelievable stuff.
Where does this leave Duke basketball? Are they just going to, they can't fire their coach, right? This is just, are you happy? Are you happy that you have like a shot at the Final Four every year? I saw a list of all the players that haven't won a national championship over the last so many years. It's kind of crazy how much talent they've had.
Is it a reflection on the coach, the losses, the back-to-back years in the tournament, blowing these big leads and losing? Is it something they just don't practice, the late-game execution? I don't know what it is, but this is how historic it was. Number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament with a 15-point lead at halftime prior to yesterday's loss were 134-0.
Wow.
134-0. But then Duke made it 134-1. The 19-point comeback by UConn is the second largest comeback in an Elite 8 game in NCAA tournament history. The largest was Louisville in 2005, came back from 20 points down to win that game. You mentioned the 99% win probability with 10 seconds left. Just hold the damn basketball. It's honestly, it's inexcusable for them to lose this game. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I was on the air on VSiN while this was going on. It's been hours later. I'm still speechless. I still just don't understand it. Like, how did they win this game? How did UConn win? I don't get it.
They sometimes leave the money line up on the live betting with like 5 seconds left. I'm like, why would anyone bet 17-1? For whoever did that, good on you. What a win.
Yeah, literally. I live bet Duke. I live bet the second half over 71.5, which thanks to that 3 cashed because it landed on 72.
No doubt.
But then I also, with 3 and change left, Duke was up 67-65. and UConn was going to the free throw, or 67-64, and UConn's going to the free throw line. At that point, I live bet Duke minus 2.5 because my thought was, well, it's UConn's going to make it a 2-point game here. Duke's obviously going to execute better down the stretch, and then we're going to get to a point where free throws are going to come to play, and Duke's just going to hit a couple of free throws at the end. So, like at the end, when they were inbounding the ball, I'm thinking, I'm going to cash this minus 2.5 because they were just going to get fouled and go to the
Your
free
favorite.
throw line.
Massive favorite.
And they didn't. Unreal. Just absolutely unreal. And now UConn advances to the Final Four. The Final Four is set. Here's what the schedule is going to look like. The first game on Saturday is going to be Illinois against UConn. Now, up on FanDuel, they were the first ones to post this. It was Illinois minus 2.5. At that point on the open, Mackenzie, I bet UConn plus 2.5. We gave it out to Better Day Insider and Premium members. I bet it. The line moved down to UConn minus 1.5, and it has gone back up since. So up on FanDuel right now, it is back to where it opened. Illinois minus 2.5. At Circa, it is Illinois minus 2. So some of the Vegas books have Illinois minus 2. FanDuel has Illinois minus 2.5. I still recommend the play on UConn plus the 2.5 in that game.
I'm shocked that they are not. I mean, I saw it move a little bit. I thought they would be favored. They're 15-2. What 15-2 under Hurley in their last 3 tournaments? 16-1 ATS.
Yeah, one loss. Only one ATS loss. Yeah.
So that means, I mean, there must obviously people would want to bet on UConn unless there's a clear reason not to. Ken Pom currently has it as Illinois is 5 points better. I don't know. I've seen the magic too often.
That's where I am. I can't bet against it. I can't bet against UConn as a dog. That's just they played as bad as you can play in the first half and somehow came back to win that game. It's unbelievable. The magic is real. I'm not going to bet against Dan Hurley here in this tournament. So give me. And even in their loss last year to Florida, they covered that game, Mackenzie, and they had a chance to win. Could you imagine
against
if they won that game? We could be talking about UConn going for a 4-peat right now.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. And then your nightcap on Saturday is going to be the battle of the 1 seeds. Shout out to our pre-tournament wager, our best bet of the NCAA tournament. Our largest investment in the NCAA tournament was over 1.5 1 seeds to make the Final Four. Thank you, Michigan, and thank you, Arizona, for cashing our biggest bet of the tournament, as both 1 seeds there are in the Final Four. And Michigan up on FanDuel, Mackenzie, a 1.5 point favorite. I like Arizona in this matchup. I like both dogs. And I think when it comes to this Michigan-Arizona game, it might be the case where it's such an even coin flip maybe that I'll let the book tell me who's the dog, and I'll just take the plus 1.5 with whoever the dog is.
I mean, these were the top 2 teams by Pencom coming in, them and Duke. They currently are 39 and 38.9, so essentially coin flips. Where is this Final Four again? I feel like
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis? Yeah, all right. I was going to say the odds are telling me that there's off-court factors that favor Michigan, or at least maybe they're just a more popular betting team. Do you think there's a major home? I mean, people travel. ASU fans will travel to Indianapolis just like Ann Arbor fans will.
Yeah, I mean, it's more Big Ten country, right? I mean, I think the Big Ten tournament this year was it usually is in Indy, but I think it was in Chicago, or so it's Big Ten territory there for sure.
I think that helps Illinois more because they play at the United Center and stuff, and they have more fans in Indiana territory. It's a long drive from Michigan.
Yeah. So I guess sure.
I don't know. I might be wrong. It might be exactly equidistant Chicago and Detroit. I don't know.
And maybe that's why Illinois is the favorite over UConn because of the regional, because of it being Big Ten territory there in Indianapolis. Well, how about the Big Ten? You got the 2 teams in now, Illinois, Michigan. They had how many teams they had in the Elite 8, right? They had all the chances. They could have had all these teams in the Final Four. You have 2 teams in the Final Four now in Illinois and Michigan. The Big Ten has not won the national championship since 2000 when Michigan State won. Shout out Mateen Cleaves. That's the last time a Big Ten program won the national championship. Is that streak ending this year, Mackenzie, or are we sticking with our pre-tournament bet, which was Arizona to win the national title?
I'm sticking with Arizona. I've seen nothing to shake me from that stance.
I agree. I'm sticking with it. Like I said, I'm on them plus 1. I like both dogs. Plus 1.5 on both on Arizona plus 2.5 with UConn, and then Arizona UConn national championship. It's going to be fun. College basketball is certainly delivering. Yesterday was just absolutely incredible. This tournament has been fantastic. Even though it's been chalky, we have had moments like we just had yesterday with UConn pulling the upset there over Duke. NBA, Mackenzie. We have an interesting stretch run here to end the season. Yesterday was a fun game, Sunday night basketball. The Knicks and the Thunder could be an NBA Finals preview, but the Knicks probably won't get there. Thunder with a 111-100 win over the New York Knicks. They cover as about 7.5 to 8-point dogs. The Knicks made it close there in the third quarter. They pulled to within one. It became a battle, but when it was all said and done, it was Shea scoring 30 points and the Thunder getting the best of the Knicks. Any takeaways from last night's game?
I think we downgrade the Knicks slightly. Whenever Jalen Brunson is going to be able to match Shea shot for shot, you got to look at the other guys, as Shaq calls them. And I'll go back to it again. Karl Anthony Towns needs to take more than 9 shots. I don't care how efficient he is. He was a -10 when he's on the court. It seems like he doesn't feel like he is that alpha that he needs to be if the Knicks are going to beat teams like the Celtics and the Cavs in the playoffs.
No, I agree. He's got to be more of a contributor. For the Thunder, they are still overwhelming favorites to win the Western Conference. They are playing tonight on the second of a back-to-back against the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference right now. So while I jokingly said the Knicks and Thunder could be an NBA Finals preview, by the math, this could be the NBA Finals preview with 2 number 1 seeds going at it against each other. The Pistons, Mackenzie, 5-1 since Cade Cunningham went out with his collapsed lung, and everyone said it was doom and gloom here for the Pistons. Their only loss in the 6-game stretch, a 130-129 overtime loss against the Atlanta Hawks. I got to be honest. I'm looking at the spread right now up on FanDuel, and the Thunder are 14-point favorites over the Pistons. Give me the Pistons plus 14 tonight.
Agree. It's too much. And we've seen big spreads, and we've seen a couple on today's slate because of the bifurcation between teams that care and teams that don't care. You look at Cleaning the Glass Net ratings right now, there are 7 teams right now, Pistons being 7th, the last 30 days that are a plus 10 or better. So what translation? There are 7 teams the last month playing as well versus their competition as like the best team in the league on any given year. Conversely, there are 7 teams that are minus 10 or worse. So the market is saying we got to make these spreads bigger. These games are being so lopsided. There are teams that care and teams that don't. Detroit might not be fully healthy, obviously not without Cade Cunningham, but they are one of the teams that care. And this is a system reality more than a player's reality. I think these are 2 teams in that former category of teams that are going for it. I think it's going to be a tighter affair than the spread it suggests.
Yep, I like it. I actually love it tonight. Another interesting game, Celtics at the Hawks. Atlanta up on FanDuel, a 1.5-point favorite, Mackenzie. Is this line saying something maybe about Celtics player availability?
Yeah, the Celtics being on the second night of a back-to-back. However, I'm not sure they are sitting anybody. I would lean towards the Celtics here. Jason Tatum has played his most minutes the last 3 games, and he had his best game in his last game. I feel like it's not like I know, you want to be careful with him, but it's not like conditioning is going to be a problem with him. He's going to want to ramp up. So I think they pretty much go full go, and I think they're more than a point better or 3 points better, even with the back-to-back. I think they should be slight favorites here.
So does this qualify as immediate revenge because they played on Friday? I know there was a game in between here, but the Celtics won at home against the Hawks 109-102. Celtics then beat the Hornets yesterday, and you mentioned Jason Tatum had 32 points in that game. And so now they have the rematch here against the Hawks. So it's kind of close proximity. The Hawks also had a game in between. They played the Kings. They won 123-113. So it's not like immediate revenge, but it's pretty close proximity revenge. Do we consider that?
I do. And I've looked at, like, if you've played in the last week and it's not quite as strong, but directionally it is teams early in the game and throughout the game are better than 50-50 if you've lost to them recently, especially if I think, like, in this situation, you're the better team. I think that's a reason why they play more guys if they have some options to make, and I think it's a reason to be on them.
Okay. I wanted to bring up the Coach of the Year stuff because you mentioned the Pistons, and you said it's more system stuff here without Cade Cunningham. So I was just looking up on FanDuel. JB Bickerstaff is a -220 favorite to be Coach of the Year. Joe Mazzulla of the Celtics is next.
That's not. I mean, that's a favorite, but that's not, as they call it, prohibitive favorite. You can still make some money. Joe
That's what
Mazzulla,
I would
second favorite.
see. That's what I'm thinking. Joe Mazzulla is the second favorite at plus 210, and then Mitch Johnson of the Spurs is 10-1. But I'm starting to think if the Pistons still end up with the 1 seed in the East, which they're 4 games up on the Celtics, right?
Yep.
If they still end up with the 1 seed and they go on this, like, people are going to remember, like, what have you done for me lately? And they'll remember them right now. They're 5-1, and we'll see how they finish in their, next couple of games here. But if they finish the season this strong without Cade Cunningham, I got to believe that JB Bickerstaff's the coach of the year, right?
Absolutely. And so this is Kalshi's number is 66%, so right alongside that. Like, what's going to change? I don't think the Celtics are going to catch anybody.
What could change is if they blow a 4-game lead here with, what do they have, 8
That's
games
really
left?
the 33% that the market is pricing in. I just don't think that's likely. I think I think that's a good bet. I mean, it's pricey. It's not like you're getting a huge, but if I gun to my head, I would definitely take the minus 230 before I take the plus 210.
Yep, let's go for it here. JB Bickerstaff, coach of the year.
Especially if they get this upset win as 13.5-point dogs versus the Thunder. It's over. Yeah. It'll be minus 800 tomorrow.
All right, Mackenzie, it was a system Sunday yesterday. Let's celebrate a little.
Stop. If you know what the rose is, this is for you. And if you don't, listen closer. Meet Lem by Hello Nancy. Yes, it looks like a lemon, but it's anything but innocent. Every 25 seconds, someone discovers Lem. With 500,000 customers and a 4.7 star rating, women say it's toe-curling and mind-blowing. It's whisper quiet and completely discreet, so no one hears a thing and no one knows what it is. Go to HelloNancy.com for 50% off this Valentine's Day. Once you try it, you'll understand. Real talk, there's a lemon-shaped toy making women text their friends at 2 a.m. screaming, "You have to get this." Meet Lem by Hello Nancy. Every 25 seconds, someone discovers Lem. With 500,000 customers and a 4.7 star rating, people call it toe-curling and mind-blowing. That's exactly why it's all over social media. Don't let the cute design fool you. With 12 intensities, Lem is waterproof, whisper quiet, and incredibly discreet. Go to HelloNancy.com for 50% off this Valentine's Day. Once you try it, you'll understand.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now because the future's happening fast and it's way too fun to miss.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into bigger wins. With the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost, here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout, mixed spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then just apply your Profit Boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go spicy, go with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. Now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com/believe to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable Boost Builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.
A system Sunday indeed, Mackenzie, in both Major League Baseball and the NHL yesterday. Major League Baseball completed its first weekend of its season, and with the first series coming to a close, it gave us an opportunity to play our first system of the season, which is betting on teams to avoid a 3-game sweep. That's right. It is one of our favorite things to do is to bet against the sweep. Now, I have to stress to the audience, pick your spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, we played 4 of the 6 teams that were looking to avoid the sweep. The 2 teams that we did not play were the Colorado Rockies, who wound up losing to the Marlins, and we did not play the Chicago White Sox against the Brewers, who lost 9-7.
So
Why
let
did
me filter your system. When it's a professional team that's avoiding the sweep, we jump in on it.
Yes, like obviously I don't want to bet on the really bad teams, so we pick our spots. But here's the numbers overall. This has been a profitable trend going back years, betting on teams to avoid the 3-game sweep and 4-game sweep as well. But it's less. It's more rare for the 4-game sweep.
Right.
The 3-game sweep. Here's the numbers. Now, last year was a terrible year. Last year, if you bet teams to avoid a 3-game sweep, you were down $1,566. That's a bad season last year.
15 units.
But I also, I took out the White Sox, and it was down $1,100. So the White Sox made it worse. I'm sure if I took out the White Sox, the Rockies, the Nationals, like it would have been better. But anyway, overall, every team, every team. If you just bet blindly, every team last year to avoid a 3-game sweep, you were down $1,566. You're still profitable going back years. In 2024, betting on teams to avoid the 3-game sweep, you were positive $3,765. In 2023, you were positive $1,000. Yep. You were up $1,093 in 2023. So think about that. In 2023 and 2024, you were up over $3,800, $3,900 just blindly betting teams to avoid the sweep. So yeah, you lost $1,500 last year. You're still profitable going back the past couple of seasons. This season, there's been 9 teams that were looking to avoid a 3-game sweep. 4 and 5 straight up, you're down $21. That's if you bet them all. Now, if you bet them all on the run line, 6 and 3, you're up $171. So again, pick your spots though. Like I did yesterday. I did not play the Rockies. I did not play the White Sox. And we went 3-1 with wins by the Royals as an underdog, win by the Pirates as an underdog, win by who else? Royals, Pirates. Oh, we had the win by the Rays as a small favorite, like minus 115 favorites. And the one loss that we had was the A's losing to the Blue Jays. So 3-1 yesterday, still positive units with the dog pricing there. So again, the overall numbers this year, 4 and 5 straight up, and you're down $21, 3-game sweep avoidance. For those who are wondering, the 4-game sweep avoidance last year, if you just blindly bet teams to avoid a 4-game sweep, you were up $491. In 2024, you were up $830, and in 2023, you were up $657. So another profitable system going back years, just betting teams to avoid sweeps. Now, I also like to filter it out even further, Mackenzie. Like, I love the getaway day sweep avoidance when teams are playing like the day game after a night game, right? And those usually come about on sometimes some days during the day, Wednesdays, Thursdays. These are the days you want to look for the teams to avoid the sweeps. The Wednesdays, the Thursdays, and the Sundays in Major League Baseball. We also have a system play tonight. That's right. Now, what are you saying? What's your system play on Monday? We're not talking about sweeps. No. Mackenzie, it's one of our favorite systems going back several years.
Well, let's see.
And it's simple.
Monday, so yesterday was Sunday. I like where this is
Yep.
going.
The Sunday night fade. That's right. We bet against the teams that played on Sunday night baseball and then have to travel for a game on Monday. The Cleveland Guardians played in Seattle last night, losing 8-0 to the Mariners. They only got 2 hits in that game. 2 hits, that's all we got. 2 hits they got in that game, and now the Guardians hop on a plane, fly down south to Los Angeles, where they will take on the Dodgers tonight. And the Dodgers, we're going to have to get creative here because LA is just an overwhelming favorite. So, I mean, if you wanted to just blindly play the fade, you can play the Dodgers. Actually, minus 184 up on FanDuel right now is not that terrible of a number. It is, though, Roki Sasaki on the mound. And as one of our Better Day Insider and Premium members pointed out yesterday, Sasaki is having a rough spring training, or he had a rough spring training. So maybe a little hesitation here. But Dodgers right now up on FanDuel, minus 184 favorites with Roki Sasaki on the mound, and Parker Messick is the scheduled starter here for the Cleveland Guardians. So it's going to be an interesting day here in Major League Baseball. One thing that I'm looking for, Mackenzie, with this large slate is overs. I think we see a lot of overs today in Major League Baseball. One, it's something that, I talked about this last week with when Joe Serralo filled in on one of our episodes, that if you look at game one of a series in the month of March, it's overwhelming to the over. Now it's we don't have a lot of March series, right? Sometimes the season begins late March, or whatever. But it's still March tonight. It's March 30th, and it's day one of a series. So I look at the series that will begin tonight, and I look for the overs. Now, why does this make sense? Well, I think maybe not so much on opening day, although it could work for opening day, and we did see overs on opening day. But I think as we get to these second series of the season, Mackenzie, what are you getting? You're getting now the fourth and fifth starters for these teams. So I think we're more likely to see
generally shorten their rotations late in the season. By definition, this is when they are experimenting with their fifth starters.
Yes, and they started their number 1, number 2, and number 3 in the first 3 games of the season. Now you get the number 4 and 5. So I would look for overs, and also I'd look for some dogs, some live dogs here maybe. But I would look for overs tonight here and tomorrow in Major League Baseball.
Are pitchers offensive players in the NFL generally thought of as it takes longer for them to get going versus, in this case, batters?
Yeah, pitchers they need to get built up over the course of the season. When the weather gets warmer, their arms will be liver. They'll be more live. And also the leash will be longer. Pitchers aren't going to go as long. I mean, Paul Skeens got pulled on the first inning on opening day. It made sense because he got roughed up, but you got to be careful with these guys early in the season. So something to keep an eye on, but I do like the overs here tonight in Major League Baseball across the games. Just be selective, of course, but I do think that we see a ton of overs here today. Maybe play a grand salami over, honestly. Maybe that's the play here for Monday night, is the grand salami. For those who are not familiar, the grand salami is where you play the total amount of runs scored in the day. And that is a prop offered by many sports books, and you could bet the over or the under. Maybe today, if I expect it to be more overs than unders, maybe today is a play where you do the grand salami over in Major League Baseball. I mentioned yesterday was also a system day in the NHL, Mackenzie, and this has been the most profitable thing that we've done this season in the NHL. And I was gatekeeping it for a while, but I figured let's let it loose because we only have one more opportunity to do it this season, and that is the puck line dogs when both teams are on the back-to-backs. So both teams on zero rest. You take the plus 1.5 on the dogs. This season, going into yesterday, those dogs plus 1.5 on the puck line, 39-11. Yesterday we played all 4. Yep. Yesterday we played all 4 games that qualified, Mackenzie. Game number 1, the Montreal Canadiens plus 1.5. They win outright 3-1 against the Hurricanes. It was the Boston Bruins plus 1.5, down 3-0 at the end of the first period. They rally back with 3 unanswered goals in the third period, including one with the extra attacker. They force overtime. They win in a shootout, 4-3 outright. We had the Nashville Predators plus 1.5 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and no empty net goal was scored. Tampa wins 3-2. Predators cover plus 1.5. And then the final game, which is actually a better subset, which is the Flyers plus 1.5. They were home dogs against the Stars. The home dogs this year, now with the Flyers, they won 2-1 outright in overtime. 15-4 on the plus 1.5 puck line. So overall, we are now 43-11 on the both teams on back-to-back, and take the plus 1.5 with the dogs. The home teams are 15-4. If you just blindly bet this season,
15-4.
You are up $2,165. And the next time we have a chance to do this is coming up next Sunday. We have Rangers Capitals, Canadiens Devils, Senators Hurricanes, Penguins Panthers, and Red Wings Wild. We will be taking every dog plus 1.5. That is your system play and your final likely system play here for the NHL regular season. Happy
Almost
about
no
that.
sweat in the games. I guess the Lightning could have had that empty netter.
Well, they did. So the Lightning scored an empty net goal as time expired, but it was pretty obvious after the clock struck 0.
That's great.
So
all right, I guess that's a
even
sweat. I guess if you're looking at your ticket being lost in real time,
they did.
it's a sweat.
They didn't even review it. It was just like I was watching it live, and it was like, and that's not going to count as it was after the clock struck 0, and I'm sitting there going, please don't review it, please don't review it, please don't review it. They didn't review it, so 3-2, the Lightning defeated the Predators. The big news in the NHL yesterday, though, Mackenzie, the Vegas Golden Knights, with 8 games left in the regular season, firing Stanley Cup winning coach Bruce Cassidy and replacing him with former Ranger, Flyer, Blue Jackets head coach John Tortorella. Now,
the guy
Vegas
from Rounders?
Not John Totoro.
Oh.
The Vegas has been in a bad run lately. They've lost, what is it? I think they're 3-9 in their last 12 games. It's been bad. They are in jeopardy of falling out of a playoff position. There's 8 games left in the regular season. They only have a 4-game lead to make the playoffs. So a 4-point lead, to make the playoffs. So they're trying to fight off LA. They're trying to fight off Seattle as well, maybe even San Jose. They got to turn it around, and they got to turn it around quickly. And maybe Torts is that guy, having firsthand experience.
I don't like this. I mean, this is a trend we've seen in the NBA where the Nuggets fire their coach right before the playoffs. The Grizzlies, the same thing. We haven't seen it work. These teams generally do worse than expected in the playoffs. I feel like it happens when you want to fire a guy and you're worried he's going to do well in the playoffs and it'll be harder to.
That's an interesting take. I haven't heard that take. That's an interesting take.
I mean, that's what they said about the Nuggets. I mean, that's my brain, how it works. Just think of the closest NBA parallel.
It was the same thing with the Grizzlies too. Like they wanted Jenkins gone, like forever or whatever. Like it was like, oh, the offensive system or something. Like they just wanted an excuse to fire him. Having firsthand experience with Torts, having worked for the Rangers and covered Rangers games when he was there, all I can say is he's an acquired taste. Will the Vegas players acquire that taste in 8 games before the playoffs? I don't know. Now, he did coach Jack Eichel and Noah Hannafin at the Olympics. He was the assistant coach under Mike Sullivan for Team USA. So at least you have like your star player is like maybe, has some experience with you.
Yep. Recent success for sure.
But I don't know. Just the timing is just so weird. 8 games left in the regular season. You're firing the guy that won you a Stanley Cup a couple of years ago.
How many Stanley Cups in Vegas history? How many championships in Vegas history? I believe we have one professional championship.
Well, do we count the Aces? The Aces win.
Actually,
all
yeah,
the time.
that's right.
Yeah,
definitely women's sports or sports. We have what, 3 now?
Yeah, but they won the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago, and this is the first time in franchise history. Now, the Vegas franchise is not that old, right? But this is the first season in franchise history that the Knights will finish with more losses than wins.
But they're in the tournament. That's all we care. I mean, maybe they're not.
I agree.
That's the point.
But
they're probably going to be in the tournament, and we've seen 8 seeds win it plenty.
Yeah, they could. And listen, they could still rise up in the standings too. It's not just about like losing. Like they could rise up in the standings. By the way, Vegas will play their first game under John Tortorella tonight at home against the Vancouver Canucks. Up on if you think they're going to get the fired coach boost, Mackenzie, up on FanDuel right now, Vegas minus 345 over the Vancouver Canucks.
You must protect this house.
Hey, what do we talk about though? Like soft landing spot, right? When you're going to bring in that backup quarterback, you want that.
Oh,
soft
LeBron
landing
missed a month
spot?
to start the season. Looks like Utah Jazz are on the schedule. Let's trot them out there. Yeah, this is a scheduled win.
Exactly. This feels like Vegas minus a goal and a half at minus 130 might be the play. Vegas team total over 4.5 goals. Like they're gonna or Vancouver team total under 2.5. Like Vegas wins this game like 6-0 or something or 5-0. It just feels like they'll take out some frustrations here tonight. All right, that'll do it for this episode as we welcome Mackenzie Rivers back from vacation. Clap it up for Mac. Thank you to Colby and to AJ Hoffman and Joe for filling in last week, doing some episodes, so we appreciate their help. Obviously, the picks will be up for you guys for Better Day Insider and Premium members. It's been a tough month of March. I'm not shying away from that at all. Was happy to go 7-1 yesterday to kind of, try and end the month, especially today. Try to end the month on a strong, positive note. I talked to our Better Day Insider and Premium members, like, everyone goes through rough stretches, even the best of the best. Like Steve Fezzik's probably the smartest bettor that I know, and he talks about it all the time. How last year was just his worst year, right? And he was he down like 100 units last year, but over the last 3 years, the dude's up over 300 units. Right. And this year he's up like 70 something units. He's crushing it this year. So. Guys, we go through stretches all the time, and it's about managing your bankroll, being disciplined, and trusting your process. So I'm not shying away from it. I had a great college football season. I had an incredible month of January, but March has been terrible. And so let's end the month on a strong suit. Let's make it less terrible, and then we move on to April, and we look to shine as we progress into the playoffs for both the National Basketball Association and the National Hockey League. As a reminder, you can follow us on social media, wherever you find us, on Twitter at Better_Day. Make sure you follow the Better Day YouTube channel. Colby and Jake will do another show this week. Their Off the Board podcast that streams live on both Twitter and YouTube, so you can catch it there. We're also on Instagram at Better Day. We're going to have more social media content for you guys, more written content for you guys up on the website as well. And be sure to check out our brand new MLB Game Center. It's up and live. Now, it is right now just using 2025 stats and blending in 2026 stats slowly, but over the next week or so, it's going to then just isolate 2026 StatCast data. So check it out. It's free right now. Actually, I believe it's going behind the paywall maybe today or tomorrow, but let's double check that. Let's see. Up on the page right now, you got 2 more days. You got 2 more days to access the MLB Game Center for free. You know what the coolest thing about this thing is, though, Mackenzie? You click on a game, not only does it give you the projections and the prop edges, but it also gives you the weather report. You can see the weather report, the park factors. It's all there for you. No one else has this in one spot. We give you everything, all the tools necessary to succeed. The NBA Game Center, powered by Dunks and Threes, with the game projections, the prop projections, is still there for Better Day Insider and Premium members. Check out all the tools available for you at betterday.com. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
Real talk. There's a lemon-shaped toy making women text their friends at 2 a.m. screaming, "You have to get this." Meet Lem by Hello Nancy. Every 25 seconds, someone discovers Lem. With 500,000 customers and a 4.7-star rating, people call it toe-curling and mind-blowing. That's exactly why it's all over social media. Don't let the cute design fool you. With 12 intensities, Lem is waterproof, whisper quiet, and incredibly discreet. Go to HelloNancy.com for 50% off this Valentine's Day. Once you try it, you'll understand.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.